a couple of minutes, for, things to populate for people to join in.
Absolutely.
Got some people joining already. Thank you all for coming. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Great. Awesome. And how was your Thanksgiving, by the way?
It was pretty good. We don't really do too much holidays, but it was we kind of did like a family feast day. So the kids came over. I have older children, and so
Mm.
and one younger one, one my a 7 year old. So they all came, and the deal was if I cook, they all have to spend time and play with their little brother. So I have like that was the deal. So I have a 23, and 24-year-old. And so like he likes playing the Switch or Super Mario, what is it? Mario Kart. Mario
Mhm.
Kart, something like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
each one of them, I don't care if you knew how to play it or not. They needed to go and play with. I mean, he was beaten the most time, except for my youngest daughter, but she didn't let him win. But it was fun. We had a great time. We had a great time. I cooked in between working nights and still like working nights. Come home, cook. So it was fun. How was yours?
Awesome, awesome. We kinda did like a thing where we kinda like did like half cooking at home and like half, just like eating out, so
Love
it's
it.
like yeah, so it's like some like we've gotten to a point now, like the older we've gotten, it's just like some people in the family just want to eat out and don't feel like cooking anymore. And some people are just like, well, it's a tradition, so let's,
Yeah.
at least have like some turkey and like some macaroni and stuffing and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So, kinda got, like, the best of both worlds, so,
I love it. I love
yeah,
it. That's kinda how we do. We kinda do our own, not that we don't really do holiday, we kinda do our own traditions with it, and,
yeah.
of course, my kids, they had to have, mommy's cooking, daddy's cooking, but I made sure that they had groceries before they left, and what I mean, pack your plates. I'm not gonna have all this food. Everybody's out the house except for me, my husband, my little one. Pack bags, take it to your friends, take it to your boyfriend, your girlfriend, get it out of here. And so, in a sense, we kind of fed not only our kids, but their friends and their
Yeah.
like a boyfriend or girlfriend, and even my husband, one of his friends, like he was by himself for Thanksgiving. We were like, yo, come on over, or come get your plate or whatever you want to do. So it was great. It was great to just be. The best thing was just unity together. That was
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Togetherness.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that was a great part for me. Awesome. Awesome, love it. Well,
nice.
thank you all for, showing up. Got some people in here already. Again, thank
Mhm.
you all so much for showing up to I think this is, like, the 6th the 5th day. Yep, the 5th day 'cause today's the 5th. The 5th day of, Story Miss. 12 days of expert stories. I'm here with, Netta Dingle.
Yeah,
Yep. And, she was gracious enough to, come on here and, speak with us. And so, I'm really excited to hear, her story. I think her background's, more like different than like the other folks that I've had on here. So, I'm excited to, hear your story, Netta. So, with all of that being said, please tell us, sort of, your background, your experience as a life and wellness coach, and what kind of drove you to becoming that.
absolutely. So first and foremost, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, and thank you for everybody that's in here. So, I'm an ADHD life and wellness coach, right? So I kind of went back and forth with that title. What drove me to being an ADHD life and wellness coach? I'm going to say first and foremost from personal experiences, because I am the type of person, um, the more I write about things and it's life lessons. So I can walk in a store, any store, you name it. Even to this day, I can say, "Hey, how are you doing?" Or "Girl, I love your hair," or whatever. And next, they give me their whole life story, tell me everything what's going on, and I'm there. but it's like it's a gift within me to help others and to tell them, okay, well, don't worry about it. Everything's going to work out. Give words of positivity, words of enlightenment. And so the more I start talking about it, this has probably been about, I've been like this pretty much my whole life. But probably the last, I want to say 6 or 7 years, I really got deep into it. And especially after my diagnosis with ADHD, which was about my mid 30s. I'm kind of telling my age here, but like my mid 30s, probably like almost less than 10 years ago, maybe about 8 years ago or so. And I just realized that I need to look into doing something purposeful. Like, you can have a million careers, you can have a job, which is what I've always learned is just over broke. And then you have these careers, but are you gonna be there? You never know. A company can go bankrupt tomorrow, but being a coach is somebody not just to tell you what to do, to guide you, but to help you along life's journey. So it's like a life coach. It's like somebody who's there always. And so that's what led me into being the ADHD life and wellness coach. Originally, it was the life and wellness, and then I transitioned to mindfulness because I have a mindfulness cert and CBT cert, cognitive behavior therapy, and then something just said, you know what? A lot more people have ADHD, so why not mix the three together as an ADHD life and wellness? Another thing in reference to the wellness piece, I have had battles with eating disorder. I've had eating disorder battles probably since I was a teenager, from anorexia to bulimia to binge eating. And I struggled with weight loss. And after I had my last child, um, 2018, I was at my largest weight, over 300 and like 3 pounds after I had him, and or after I birthed him. And I was depressed. I was frustrated in my body, but I couldn't do anything but just continue to eat. And so that's why I really put on that wellness piece, because I I became in control of my mind. And a lot of people say, "Oh, that's hard," but it is. It's mind over matter, and it's all about discipline. I became in control of my mind, and it took me until I was about 30, my 37th birthday. There was this one picture of myself where we were in Charleston, South Carolina for my little birthday getaway, and my pants ripped in the back. Yes, my pants ripped because of my weight, and right then and there, yeah, it did. Right then and there, like, my cousin, he's like, "Oh, no, here, tie this around or whatever," and we went back to the hotel, and right then and there, I'm like, "This is not gonna work. I gotta be in better control of my body, better control of my mind," and right then and there, I started doing the tools I need to do, eating healthier, doing the research, and then that's where my wellness piece comes in from. Life is from life experiences, and ADHD is from being diagnosed at age 34. Formally diagnosed, not misdiagnosed the first 2 times, but formally diagnosed with ADHD, and helping people to, let me rephrase, not just helping, right? I don't like to use the word too much, help. Guiding people, teaching people the things that where they can allow their minds to work for them and not just with them, or be in control of their destinies, be in control of their minds. Yeah, I think I gave you all that super fast in one breath.
No, no, that's a lot. That's no, that's like a good that's good. I mean, that means that, you kind of, like you have it all in your mind and you kind of already like you have a good grasp on, the story and, it was really great. The delivery was great. Very nice and
Oh, thank you.
concise and I love it. Awesome, awesome. So awesome. So there's a lot of there's a few questions I got for you then.
Okay.
So when it comes to, being an ADHD life and wellness coach, what um sort of people do you help guide? And how are those experiences working with them?
Awesome, awesome question. So I'm still working on the clients per se, but here's my biggest thing. I've been, what's the word I want to use? Pro bono for so long. So even if is when it comes to getting a paying client, some of the biggest things is, let me go to the ADHD part, right? Because from the wellness aspect, I've worked with people when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to exercise, when it comes to how to eat, what to eat, when to eat. And I'm not a nutritionist by any means. I'm not a dietitian by any means. I'm just a person who has lived through that experience. But when it comes to the ADHD, I can only help with what I've been through and the research that I've seen. So I've helped even on Substack, I have an amazing, amazing subscriber that I talk to who's one of my friends to this day with time blindness. Sometimes you're dealing with overwhelm, productivity. How can I get through that task initiation? And that's hard because sometimes, and I tell them, hey, I'm not perfect. Guess what? It's not like I say, hey, you know what? I had ADHD, but I can help you with it. I still have it. Look, today you had a prime example of it, trying to do a million things at one time, and still I end up being late, like not even procrastination. It was just like the time blindness. I knew I would be here on time, but guess what? It just didn't work in my favor like I wanted to. So I'm able to, that's some of the things I've helped many people with, and sometimes with ADHD, even with addiction. Um, and I use addiction mm, pretty vaguely, so to speak. And I mean, I'm just talking from the wellness part of addiction when it comes to not like the substance abuse portion. But I've helped people when it came to food addiction, like whether anorexic, not wanting to eat food, or even when it comes to drinking water, believe it or not, probably maybe 80 to 90% people with ADHD do not like drinking water. For whatever reason, they don't like the taste of it. Me, myself included. But I've learned to, hey, okay, let's download a water app. Something things you get into the routines or get into the rhythms over routines. So that's another thing I've helped a lot of people with rhythms, with procrastination. Procrastination is a big one. Consistency is a big one. And I'm like, I cannot say I'm consistent either. I'm like, I get into a rhythm. You get into this rhythm, which creates this routine. It's kind of like once you wake up every day, you open your eyes. Okay, as soon as you open your eyes, you get out of bed. You get out of bed, whether you put on your bedroom shoes or you go use the restroom or you brush your teeth, you wash your face. It's some things that you're taught. Like you have to, in a sense, when it comes to this coaching and things that I've taught others that help so many with is like you're retraining your brain to do something that you really want to do. And that's the same thing even when it comes to me writing. People like, how can you write with ADHD? Like, how do your mind stay focused? You know why? Because it's a dopamine fix for me. I find an excitement. And I'm talking to you like because I'm so excited right now. But there's this excitement when it comes to certain things that I'm passionate about, I want to talk about, I want to write about. And so that's where that comes in. It's a dopamine fix.
Wow, wow. I love that. So, like, does the dopamine, does that happen? But do you ever notice, like, you get hit with, like, the dopamine, but then, when it's not, like, maybe things, like, slow down a bit, or maybe that could be where, that could be a spot where it's hard to be, consistent when, the dopamine effect kinda wears off? Have you experienced
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when it because people with ADHD, we tend to have low dopamine. And like now I'm kind of getting to the scientific part of it, but I'm not a scientist at all. But we have a low dopamine, which means we need something that can boost our dopamine levels because most neurotypical people, like okay, hey, I want to do this and they go do it. Well, sometimes people with ADHD or ADHDers, hey, I want to do this. And it's like, oh, but if I do this, this might happen. But what about this? What about that? Or what about this? Oh gosh, and then next you've been wanting to do the same thing for 6 months now and never got it done because it's the fear of the unknown. It's like I want to do this and I need to do this, but if I do this, what'll happen? You also got masking involved, but with the dopamine, just to answer your question, because I don't want to get off topic, is when your dopamine is low, is sometimes you gotta like I said, you wanna do something, but you don't have the momentum to do it. You don't have the energy. It's like you're exhausted because your mind is constantly going, going, going nonstop. But I have talked to others, help others, and also for myself, once you find ways, right? Once you find techniques to clear your mind, certain things, even for moments, right? Even for a minute amount of time, go outside, get in nature, breathe. That's different ways to reset. Listen to music, different ways to reset. Once you find a rhythm to reset your mind, and then your focus change. And once your focus changes, it's like, wait, okay, I wanted to do this. I'm going to work towards this. So that would give you that momentum to get that one start, to get that excuse me, to start that one task. And then once you start it, when you microtask, and then you do one part of it, next you know you're doing two parts, three parts. And sometimes even our focus can get into a hyper focus, right? Into that hyper focus fixation to where it's like, okay, I'm going to sit here. And sometimes it's hard to stop. A lot of times it's hard to stop. But there's other tips and techniques like Pomodoro effect to where to avoid getting too far into that hyper focus, but still allow you time to breathe because you don't want to get so hyper focused to where you get overwhelmed or get so focused to where you get, start overthinking and things like that. Overwhelm, overthinking, then you get frustrated, then you're emotionally dysregulated. Like you have, basically, it's like you have with the ADHD mind, the more I dive into it and learn about myself and others and research, it's almost like we have four seasons, right? But it's like take them four seasons and multiply it by 10 or 100 or 1,000. That's how our mind keeps going, 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 and how the emotions and the hormones are constantly. It's, it's not that it's never going to be regulated, but it doesn't stay regulated for long periods of time. And that's just like dopamine. Our dopamine fix is like for a short period of time, you get this burst. And you're like, yes, I'm gonna do this. Like for me, for example, for my mom passed away actually Tuesday, it'll be 14 years. For almost 14 years, like literally probably over 10 years, I said I was gonna write this book for almost 14 years since my mom passed, right? I spoke at her funeral, everything. I had the title for it. 2, 3 years, like when we moved to this area, 3 years out 2 to 3 years after my mom passed, I wrote down a synopsis. I wrote down the characters. I wrote down everything. I'm putting this into existence. Years go by. Years go by. And now I'm finally, after 13, almost 14 years, at the place to where it's like, oh my gosh, Netta, wow. Like, and this is within just this year. So the dopamine fix for me was like, I need to write this novel. Like my mom, her birthday, she would have been 85 in January. I have goals. I said I was going to do this 2, 3 years ago. Now I'm finally writing, and I'm almost at the end. And it's and enough that we love novelty. We love to be congratulated. We love to celebrate little things. And for me, that may be small for somebody else. Okay, big deal. You're writing a novel. Okay, so what? But for me, it's like, wow, it's one of the greatest accomplishments. What a great, I probably gave you a whole extra answer to the one question that you asked, but charge it to my mind. Charge it to my mind.
No, 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 I love it, I love it, I love it. Yeah, yeah, that's awesome, that's awesome. Wow. Thanks for sharing that because I feel like a lot of people probably don't know, just how like, I'm pretty sure, like, people have heard of ADHD, but they're not sure exactly, how it really works and, things like that, and they sort of just say, "Well, why is it so hard, to have focus and things like that," when, you know, that's kinda like a big misconception, unless you're actually, like, in it and actually have it, then you don't really know, how
Yes.
it feels. Awesome. Well,
Absolutely.
and, what do you think is, like, a few, like, big misconceptions about ADHD that people have?
Oh gosh, why are you asking me that question, Khadijah? I want to be accurate here. So let me break down the acronym for ADHD first off, because to me the acronym is a misconception as a whole, right? ADHD is basically a neurological disorder. Your brain, like, but oh, your brain's wired differently. And our brains really are wired differently. It just does things different than the neurotypical brain. So ADHD, so misconceptions, I would say, is the acronym itself is attention, deficit hyperactivity disorder. Okay, disorder is correct. Attention deficit, not so much because when you're at the point, like I said, when you get that dopamine fix, or if and to get something accomplished, like if your mindset says, I want to get this done, focus has nothing to do with it. You're a go-getter. You're going to get it done. Hyperactivity. Everyone with ADHD is not hyperactive. So they actually put it all in one thing to where it's not so much a deficit in attention at all. And it's not hyperactive because you have inattentive ADHD. Then you have the hyperactive ADHD. Then you have the combined type ADHD, which has both of them, to where sometimes you lack focus just a little bit. Sometimes you lack attention. If it's something, and I'm not just going to say for neurodivergent ADHDers or even n- neuro, anybody, if you're not interested in something, you're not gonna pay attention. I mean, that's just it is what it is. Like, okay, this I'm bored. This is boring. I'm not gonna pay attention to it. Another misconception. So I'm gonna say the acronyms as a whole, the misconception is totally off for me. And so many other people say the same thing. It's like, who came up with the title ADHD? It probably was based off of a small percentage of people that was kind they were doing studies on over and over a certain period of time. Another misconception I have is that, um, boys, right? I'm gonna say it like this, boys, because I have another misconception as well, but the ADHD is more likely to happen in boys than girls. And on the flip side of that, kids are, because I've heard this, even talking with several psychiatrist friends of mine and my psychiatrist, I've heard, or my old psychiatrist, that boys' behavior. That's a huge misconception. Oh, the boys and if you have ADHD, it's behavior driven. No, it's not behavior. That kills me. It bothers the heck out of me because it's not so much that these kids have a behavior issue. These kids are bored. They're bored. Like my son, he's hyper energetic. He doesn't have ADHD. I'm sure maybe they may diagnose him, but he doesn't. As of right now, he's hyper energetic. If he was in public school and wasn't homeschooled, immediately, I guarantee by the time he was in kindergarten, I would get a note saying he needs to be evaluated for ADHD because that's the assumptions. Or excuse me, behavior disorder, because that's the assumption. You need to be in a behavior class. But ADHD is not so much behaviors. I and it's not so much in boys. They always look at it for boys. Girls have ADHD too. We just have different ways of it, but it's not a behavior driven neurological disorder. That's a misconception because they think it's all behavior driven. You could be the perfectly normal person. I was very gifted. I still am. I graduated top of my classes. Very educated. People could look at me on the street and never know that I have ADHD because I don't have behaviors. I was in school, never diagnosed with ADHD. Never. Never. Not till I got after my mom passed away, way past grown, two times over, kids almost grown and everything. And then it's like, what? Huh? Are you sure? That makes no sense. I've even had like doctors saying, well, I had one psychiatrist ask me, um, um, what did she ask me? Were you behind in school? Or how was your grades? They think because a kid's grades are bad, that kind of goes with the school with the boys and this and that. If you're great, you don't really have ADD unless basically you're dumb. I'm gonna be real. You're dumb. You have bad grades. You have bad grades because you can't focus. Okay, well, you know what? You can't focus because it's not interesting. You have to challenge a child with ADHD for the most part. Now, not everybody, but a lot of children with ADHD that they thought had behavior needed challenge. And then a lot of the girls that had it, they masked. We masked. I masked so bad because I wanted to be that norm. and I think that's a big thing. And I know some people may not have heard of it, but I feel like now ADHD is more prevalent now than ever before, because I've seen more things in the last probably 2 to 3 years than I've ever seen. And it's like, I had to ask a question one day. I'm like, is ADHD a new fad? Is it like a new, hey girl, guess what, boo? I got ADHD. What? It's like, what is, seriously, what is going on? Is this a new thing? Like, I was like, okay, you have people that do not have ADHD saying they have ADHD because of clout. And I'm like, wow, is mind-boggling to me. Like, you wanna have like, it's many of us like, I've learned to make my mind work for me, right? I've learned to utilize the creativity of my mind. I've learned to use the multitasking ability of my mind. Just like I tell everybody else, use what God has given you. Use your God-given mind. If it's there for you to use, you have it for a reason. Tap into your spirituality, tap into what God has given you for your mind. And some people, I mean, don't claim something on yourself that you don't have. You still have to speak over yourself, speak life over yourself. Don't say, "Oh, well, yeah, I'm talking about ADHD because I haven't. I wish I had." No, be glad for what you do have, and then what you do have, learn to use it. That's one thing about my ADHD life. Oh shoot, life and wellness coach. Sorry, I keep swiping my phone up. I should have put on do not disturb. But that's one thing that I teach and I help. I walk along with people. I never would say I am that type of person that's going to tell you what to do. And some people look at coaching like, oh gosh, I don't want somebody, jumping down my throat. No, 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 no. I'm the type of person to say, hey, I'm walking with you. I'm here with you every step of the way. I've been there where you are. I am there where you are. Let's walk this road together. So that way they know you have a friend and I meet you where you are. It doesn't matter if you are a billionaire, trillionaire, quadrillionaire executive, or, you straight from the projects. It doesn't matter. ADHD has no respect of person. It don't matter who you are. Anybody can have it. But it just kind of throws me off to people that don't have it act like they do. And it's like it's a new fad. It's something apparently it's intriguing. Or if you have ADHD, autism and ADHD, it's like, I think I have it. I'm like, why would you want something that you may not have? But if you do have it, the people that do have it don't want it, but have learned to live with it for decades, you know, tens of decades or however long. And some still don't know how to make their mind work for them. So, yeah, that's my spill on that.
Yeah, yeah, thanks so much for saying. I've been noticing that too. Do you know why it's sort of, like, being more prevalent that people on social media, like you said, the fad is, like, happening where people are just saying that they have it seems like it's, like, a cool thing to put in their bio or something, like,
Hmm.
do you know why that's happening all of a sudden?
That's a great question. I don't know why, but actually, I kind of have a thought to why. I don't know 100%, right? I'm not an expert in this, but more people are getting late diagnosed than before. And so for a lot of late diagnosers, they are speaking out about it because one thing about ADHD, you mask so bad. Even for myself, it's like, oh gosh, if I tell people I have ADHD, they're gonna be like, "You what? Oh, it's kind of like the cooties." That's what I used to think, and then I got to the point. Okay, let me just write about how I do, my ADHD ventures and homeschooling, how I work this out, and then I think I truly believe it's more people that are being diagnosed. And when those people, like for example, there's this one um, YouTuber, Penn Hortis, the Hortis family, amazing. Penn and his wife Kim. The more people that speak out about their diagnosis, he was diagnosed as a teenager, but he just wanted to talk out about it, to share with others. Sometimes we just want to share stuff. And when people see people who aren't diagnosed or don't have ADHD, because you can be self-diagnosed, misdiagnosed, diagnosed with some people who are just, a normal Jack, normal Jane, and they say, wait a minute, these people are getting millions of views, or these people are getting, X amount of views. And some people, they just get to the point to where they go straight to Google, or in today's time, Chat GPT. Chat GPT, Chat GPT is the new Google, the new Siri, the new AI. They go into and they start researching and researching. And next you know, everybody, I guarantee you can pull up every probably 10 channels have it about ADHD, because now more people want to talk about it. And so if you can gain the research and or research something and help others with it, oh, hey, my views are going to go up. So I really feel to why it's a fad is because to start with, there was more people being late diagnosed. I mean, I've even talked to somebody who was diagnosed in their 50s, in their 50s. It was one lady, she was on my threads. I think she was 70. So it's like really people are getting late diagnosed to finally figure out why they've been like this their whole life. And then the people that aren't diagnosed, seeing them, oh well, I'm gonna say this too. Like I've seen people and I'm like, do you have ADHD? Like I've seen ADHD coach, just ADHD, this, and they're like, no, but I just talk about it. So I don't know. I think it's just like Hmm, I don't know. It's almost like talking about finances nowadays. It's like ADHD is the new mental health finance. I mean, I've worked over 20 plus years with um, the autism community and, the behavior health technician or behavior health, um, a QP or whatnot. And I don't see as many people talking about autism back then as I do now as well. So it's like kind of like they're looking at the neurodivergencies. They're looking at the the trends. It's like the trends are going up with ADHD. Maybe not from my channels, from my subs, but to each his own. I'll just keep it real. But that's what I believe it is. It's more clout chase. It's something that's going to keep shooting up higher. The more people are diagnosed, and some are misdiagnosed, and some are self-diagnosed, and then eventually it's going to kind of at a standstill, and then it's going to be something else. Next is going to be talking highly about autism, or it may be talking highly about bipolar disorder, or it might start talking highly about schizophrenia. It's something with the mental health, and I really feel like since COVID, um, which really did a total reset for the world. I feel like since COVID, more people have realized the development of it, because if you mask and you are kind of like, I hate to be like this, but it is what it is. In the matrix of our world, of especially the U.S., right? I'm gonna say that I can't say the world, but it is what in the matrix of the world. You're groomed to kind of go to school and be a worker, and you work, 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 work. But with COVID, it's a snap. It made people sit down and realize, wait a minute, hold on, I've been doing this, because like even myself, my whole life, I thought I was a multitasker. I thought it was normal to do 10 things at one time. I thought it was normal to be talking to you right like this and still typing at the same time, drinking a sip of water and on the phone. I thought that was normal, but apparently it's abnormal. It's not the norm. And so I think more people have realized that what they considered the norm was their norm. And that's why I say I'm like, it's not abnormal. It's not there's no such thing as a normal person. Everybody has something. But I think that I believe that they finally realized their norm needed a diagnosis to it or needed a name to it. I hope that answered that question without me going all the way around.
Yeah, yeah, I love that answer. I feel like there's like so many layers to it. I feel like that
There
you
are.
like just laid out so eloquently. Like, like there's multiple layers as to why that's happening. And like you talked about, like being like self-diagnosed or like misdiagnosed and things
Mhm.
like that. Um, do you feel like in terms of, like being like diagnosed, like do you think that, like, being self-diagnosed is, like, a real like, should even, like, be happening? Like, because you said, with, like, Chat GPT and Google and things like
Mhm.
that, like, do you think do you think, it should be by an actual professional and not just,
Ooh, that's a great question. So I really feel, and I believe that if a part because I know different strokes for different folks, and it depends on some people are self-diagnosed because of their insurance, the finances, um, basically health insurance as a whole, depending on where they're at, or when it comes to mental health, because the neurodiverse once they see certain symptoms that they realize that they have, because you can trick your brain into thinking you're something that you're not, and people don't realize that it's like you can trick that's called mindset. If you trick your brain, say, "Oh gosh, I have ADHD," and you're speaking that over yourself constantly, then 9 times out of 10 you're gonna have it. But I really believe that a person who is self-diagnosed realize that they've had these things for a long time and they finally figure out what it is they have. But you have some that self-diagnose themselves and then they want to get a full diagnosis. One of my amazing friends, she depending on where she's at, I think she's in Europe or somewhere like that, or UK, they have to wait for like a year, 2 years to get a diagnosis. Depending on the healthcare, depending on, getting in, because mental health, it can take a process. It can take 6 months to get into mental health. And if you have no insurance, it can take longer. And so I think that's why some people are just like, okay, I'm self-diagnosed. I know what it is. I know I have time blindness. I'm overwhelmed. I know I can't focus. I can't function. My mind races like 100 beats per minute and doesn't stop. And they realize all of the symptoms from social media, like you said, and when they start looking at stuff on 9 times out of 10 is social media, because most people aren't going to just look up or research or Google, hey, why am I overwhelmed or why do I procrastinate? Because that's their norm. They don't. Some people didn't even know the word procrastinate because that's their norm. But as soon as like I said, during the COVID, when the TikTok and the all which used to be, I don't know the kid. My kid said it was Vine or something like that. I don't know. I'm on TikTok, but not on TikTok. It depends on how I feel. But when all this stuff start coming out and all these some are medical providers that start talking about it because they wanted to get these words out, then the people who weren't before self-diagnosed realize, oh my gosh, they can resonate. This is me. This is what I'm going through. This is how I've been in school. This is what I've been doing. I've been like this my whole life. And then next you know, they start doing the research. That's when they start putting stuff into back then it wasn't chat GPT, but then they start putting in Google and then they start putting in chat GPT and then finally realize this is what I have. And sometimes they will talk to their medical provider. And the medical provider, like now they even give you screening questions for pre-diagnosis, I believe now. But and sometimes the medical provider's like, "Yeah, it seems like you're right," or the medical provider said, "Well, we'll have to transfer you or send you somewhere, refer you to somewhere else," and that somewhere else can take months to get into. So, I honestly, I feel like a self-diagnosis is a diagnosis. For me, it is. I mean, I was diagnosed before I even thought about being self-diagnosed because nobody could tell me anything. But I feel like if you're going to have a self-diagnosis, at least work towards getting a full diagnosis because there are medications that can help people that have ADHD. Because sometimes your focus is off, or sometimes your mind is all over. Like you see in my conversation, you ask me one question, I give you a million answers, but it's okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Like that
But then some
really.
people are looking at naturally. So that's one thing about me. I am a naturalist, right? I am a holistic person to an extent, right? I'm very holistic when it comes to medications. I hate medications, but I would never tell someone, "Don't you dare take medication to focus," right? I wouldn't tell them that. But if someone I knew is they self-diagnose themselves, or even if they just feel that they're like, "Well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that," they think they may have ADHD, or maybe their hormone levels are off, there are natural supplements for that until you get your diagnosis to get to where you want to be. So I'm not against medication because different strokes for different folks. Everybody needs something different. So I would never say, "Hey, girl, you better get on this medication. Like you all over the place." No, that's not no. But there are different supplements, like, for example, magnesium for sleep, L-theanine to help calm, and Imma say chill because I don't like the word calm. Calm pisses me off. So, people like, "Calm down." What? But I what do you mean calm down? I'm not calm. So I tell them like, if you want a chill to your chaos, use some L-theanine. That'll work. L-tyrosine to help you kind of have mental clarity. There's so many natural things to where my perspective, and I'm kind of going into a different question that you didn't even ask, but I feel I need to say is that even ADHD, even though it's a neurological disorder, because it's in the brain, it is hormonal based, right? And I have to do more research on that, right? Because there's certain hormones that the body is disconnected from the brain to the rest of the body. And I'm like, okay, I got to do my research. So once I get all my research together for that, Khadijah, I got you, boo. I got you. I'll be back with you with all that research. I'm still
Yeah, yeah,
working
yeah.
some
Come
kinks
back
out.
on. Yeah, yeah. Come back
Yes.
on and like tell us what you found. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm so I'm pinpointing. I'm like, okay, like I even told my psych, I'm like, wait a minute, I was diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder, right? Before I was diagnosed with ADHD. The more research and my doctors, they love me, but at the same time, they're like, "Damn her! How dare she just take our job?" But listen, I'm like, if I have bipolar 2 and I have ADHD, these 2 are interchangeable, right? Because originally, like I told my psychiatrist, you told me I had insomnia. If I have insomnia, and you guys try to put me on all these sleep medications like a zombie, I won't be zombilized for anybody because I didn't even take them. And I realized all I needed was magnesium. So if my sleep impacts my memory, sleep impacts brain fog. If you're not hydrating properly, which I wasn't, drinking water, that's where my wellness comes in. You're not eating properly, you're going to be disoriented. So how do I know it's just a hormonal imbalance to start with? I know it's ADHD, but how do we know ADHD is not just a hormonal imbalance? And then both men and women. Men said we don't have hormones. That's a lie. You know why? Because you're born from a woman. Hormones are within the body. You have to have insulin is a type of hormone. You can't live without insulin. HG, whatever it is, HCG, the hormonal growth hormone, HGH is a hormone. You have to have that to grow. So, sorry, I'm kind of going back to my nursing school days, but it's like I really feel in my heart that it's a shift in the hormones. It's a shift. It's a shift. That's it. I'm ending on that. It's a shift.
I love it. Awesome, awesome. Thanks. Wow. Thanks so much for sharing that. Because again, come back on and tell us what you find. 'Cause, like,
Yes, I'm still researching it, girl. I am. I have even my
yeah.
psych. They're like, okay. Even my doctor, my primary care, I get to see her next week, and I'm like, listen, I feel. She's like, oh, Netta, what you feel? What do you feel now? I'm like, I took myself off thyroid medication because I knew that why would I take this medicine? You tell me to take it for a month or two because it's hypo, which means underactive. When I look, I'm not a big salt eater, and I realize I need iodine. When I increase my shellfish, guess what? Got myself off thyroid medication. Haven't been on it in like 14 years. So why would you? Well, actually, yeah, about 14 years. Why would you tell me something? Then, if you do the research yourself, you kind of figure your own stuff out. I'm just
Awesome.
saying, we're working it out, girl. We're working it.
Wow. Wow. Awesome. Awesome. Well, wow. This was so great. Well, I guess like a final question I would have for us to end here is what sort of, advice or teachings or, wisdom would you give to, people, that, are that currently have ADHD right now, cuz again, I've talked to, some people that really have it and it's really sort of, one person I've talked to, he said like it's really sort of, made it's sort of, it's sort of taken a toll on his life and how he lives. And, it's sort of made him feel like he can't like accomplish anything because of, the procrastination and things like that. And he's scared to, jump into or into commit to anything because,
Hmm.
he's really scared of, what could come. So,
Yeah,
what advice or, wisdom would you have for people?
that's a great question. So I would say I wanna say just do it, but at the same time, I would say focus on the present, right? One thing I have told others, I think I wrote about it, I can't remember if it was on Substack or on I wrote about just do and just be. 2 words, do and be. If you just be, you're focusing on the present. And the guy you were speaking to, he has ruminating thoughts. So it's a fear of the unknown, a fear of what could happen but may not happen, right? So that's kind of like ADHD mixed with some anxiety as well. So it's I understand commitment. So you don't have to jump into commitment. Don't look at it as commitment. Look at it as building routines or building rhythms over routines. Look at it as okay, depending on what the commitment is. Now, relationships, oh, that's a whole nother segment for a whole nother day, girl. You gotta wait till I get the rest of my podcast out on that. So, but jumping into a commitment is hard. It's very hard. But at the same time, if you put one foot forward, the other one will follow. I think that's the best advice. If you put one foot forward, the other one follow. Because you can't just put one foot and just stand there. You got to get the other foot to follow. You have to. But another thing I would say is, um, especially when it comes to learning how to use your ADHD. ADHD is the more at first I was devastated with it, and now the more I look at it, it's beautiful. It's beautiful because I always say it's a unique brain, it's a unique mindset. So instead of looking at what you can't do, right? Take out that can't is a cop word. Can't is a cop out word, right? Look at what you can do. Look at what you can do and focus on that because if you look at what you can do and you are present with it, then you're just going to be and do. You're not even going to worry about the rest because you're so focused on that one particular goal or that one mini task that you're doing. And once you finish that one small task, even when it comes to commitment, you can't say you're going to commit to something because the thing about it, you don't have to stay in anything you don't want to stay in. So in life, there's no such thing as commitment. Right? Even when it comes to people being married, mind you, I've been married 20 some years. So I'm proud of myself when it comes to commitment to ADHD. Now, if I put my husband on here, he gonna say such. He gonna like, look, I don't know how y'all deal with her, but when it comes to you have to do a little bit by little bit by little bit. And another thing I would say, like we love novelty. Find whatever you're struggling with something because that's something that's not for you. You're struggling with something because you don't know how to tap into that creative side. You don't know how to tap into that fun side. The other day, I just said to my friend, I said, okay, I said, I figured it out. I told Natasha, I said, I figured it out. I said, there's two things I'm going to do content creating and writing. That's it. I'm done. I'm done with everything else. And she's like, okay. I know she's always like, okay. I'm like, that. I love it. You have to find things that makes you happy. And if you find something that makes you happy, there's no commitment. If you find something that you do that makes you happy, you're not committing to anything besides having fun. That's it.
Wow, that's a great way to look at it. Like, I
Yeah.
never wow. I love that. I should tell that guy that. I'm gonna tell him.
Please, yeah, tell him. Matter of fact, go ahead. You need me to type it up? No, just play it. Go ahead and tell him.
No, no, that's such an awesome way of looking at it. Especially,
Yeah.
even, for even when, just just even, like, for me, like, I never, like, thought of it like that when there's, like, something that I'm afraid of, like, jumping into and things like
Hmm.
that, like, looking at it as, like, not as a commitment, but, just, being happy is just investing
Yeah.
in, being fun and stuff like that, so
And that's it.
yeah.
Have fun with it. Like we have a small retail business and but like I have this thing about lives, right? I'm like, oh gosh, I don't want to go on live. Da, 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 da. And so when you asked me, I was like, no, I was like, you know what? Whatever. And this month, this season, right? This month is a season for me. I'm learning and still learning to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Oh, girl, snap to it because I'm about to write that in. I'm about to do an article being comfortable with being
Love
uncomfortable.
it.
You have
Love
to
that.
learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And on our little reselling business, I got on it's auction site called Whatnot. First, I was like, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to say, and it's like whatever comes to your heart, whatever comes to your mind. And it's one thing my mom used to say, God bless her soul. She said, if you talking to them people over there, them people ain't think about you, girl. They can't bite you. And it's like it's like they can't fight you. So that's something. It's like you have to also be. You have to get. So when it comes to fear of the unknown, you it's hard and it's difficult and it's going to be uncomfortable. It feels uncomfortable. Being an entrepreneur is uncomfortable. Being a writer is uncomfortable because you don't know what people are going to say. Being a content creator is uncomfortable. But guess what? When you hit send or hit publish or hit whatever you hit, it's out of your hands and it's in the universe hands. Let go and let it grow. Keep it moving. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Wow. Well, thank you so much. This is definitely one of the best conversations I've ever held with
Oh,
X. So, like,
thank
I
you.
love this. Yes, thank you so much for coming on. Like, you provided so much, like so much education, like so much valuable, stuff on here. Like, it's been like a blast. Like, so thank you so much for
Oh,
this.
you're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. Like I told you, I was like, "Look, I don't know what to talk about." What, and then it's like I told you, once it comes from the heart, I can't control it.
Yeah, yeah.
Let it flow.
Yeah, thank you so much. And because again, I just feel like, you're kind of like you're just like different than like anyone else like I've had on. Like you're just, like like your background and things like that. I wanted to get more into I wanted to have more people on, that sort of have to do around like with like in like the mental health realm and things
Yes.
like that. And so like that really like I love this conversation. This was so
Oh, thank
awesome.
you.
It's such a treat.
Yes,
Awesome.
I enjoy being on. I'm so glad for everybody that came on because another thing with getting on live, I don't look at the people, right? I'm looking at you as if we're just talking back and forth, like having a coffee chat in Starbucks or Panera, whatever.
Well, awesome, awesome. I'm pretty sure everyone here enjoyed it. Awesome. Well, thank you all for showing up. Netta, can you tell us, about your Substack and where people can find you and your newsletter?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I actually have 2 publications, but let's just say right now one, because the other one, she's kinda dormant, Vent to Victory, but, I have ADHD Ventures in Homeschooling. So I not just talk about homeschooling, but I also talk about a lot of things, ADHD tips, tools, techniques. Sometimes you could just be having an off day, but I also talk in depth about homeschooling and homeschooling from an ADHD mom's perspective. A lot of people think I'm talking about homeschooling kids with ADHD. Now, if those tips and tools and techniques work for your kiddos, yes, go for it. But I talk about more so from a mom or a parent's perspective of ADHD. But also, I have a podcast, Chatterbrain Mommy. So that's my other name, Chatterbrain Mommy Podcast. And I talk a lot in depth, raw, and I'm not a big cusser or anything like that, but about ADHD tips, tools, techniques, and just things that different people are just going through that you could just help. And I'm always a DM away. I know I'm supposed to be coaching and charging, but still I'm a DM away, no charge to you. So just reach out anytime. If you have any questions, I'm always here.
Awesome, awesome. So you all heard Netta. It's ADHD Ventures at homeschooling, right?
ADHD Ventures at Homeschooling.
Yeah, yeah. ADHD
Yes.
Ventures at homeschooling and her podcast, Chatterbrain Mommy.
Chatterbrain Mommy Podcast. Yes.
Awesome. So go over to Netta Substack, please subscribe. I know
Yes, please.
like it'll be an awesome read. And
Yes.
just has so much knowledge, and she's awesome at what she does. So again, please
Oh,
support it.
thank
And
you.
again, I know. And again, thank you all so much for coming. And Netta, again, definitely
Thank
don't be a
you.
stranger. I'd love to
You
have
know
you
I'm not.
on.
Thank you so much for having me, Khadijah, and thank you so much, everyone. I really enjoyed it. Now I'm gonna have to be getting on Substack Live more. Thanks, Khadijah.
Yes, you definitely are. Again, don't be a stranger. We want you to come back on and
Yes.
tell us what you've learned. So
Oh,
again,
yeah. It'll be my pleasure.
awesome, awesome. Well, again, I'm gonna be putting out clips to this and post
Okay.
the full thing later on so people can watch it back. And again, thank you all for coming. And again, thank
Yes.
you so much, Netta, for coming on and blessing us with your wisdom.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank y'all so much. I enjoyed it. But y'all have a wonderful day. Look, I'm a little bit over, so I have to get ready to go. But love and peace to all of you.
Yep. Thank you all so much. Bye, Netta. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye, Khadijah. Bye, everyone. Thank you.